Conducting an orchestra is like riding a stallion. You have to guide it, and it has to feel safe with you, but you also have to respect the fact that it could kill you in a second.
I was a very lucky student because I'd just been involved in the shell competition, and a few of us had taken part and were suddenly wrung out of the blue by the LSO. And I thought I'd seen the last of the LSO, having got so far in the competition. They said, "Would you like to go to Japan?" We were in rehearsal, the first rehearsal, and I was faced away, and suddenly there was a shriek from the violins. You could see who was coming in. And it was this Bernstein guy who was, I think to say charismatic was an understatement. It just, an aura around him he had. And there's basically a picture of us here, and I'm on the crease right there. So yeah, that basically just kind of summed up the kind of month of music making, really.
I'm Sue Mallet, Director of Planning for the London Symphony Orchestra. I think Lenny brought with him the joy of making music. I mean, on the podium, he undoubtedly inspired the players, the singers, the soloists, I just think that, people would say that he inspired them to play. He was a great conductor, and he was a great composer. And there aren't many who have all these attributes that I know of.
He can be the first great American conductor.
He came down for the filming with Bradley Cooper. And I was sort of, sitting there waiting to play. And then suddenly, Bernstein was there. It was as though, I literally did a double take because, of course, 1990, I had him right there beside me, and we'd been, all chatting as a cello section with students. And it was as though I was in some kind of time warp. The Ely scene was an iconic moment for all of us. Harkening back to a great historic moment for the LSA. As a member, you're aware of, lots of people are aware of that particular moment. It compares with the moment in Coventry with the LSO doing Benjamin Britten Woolrequiem with Britain. It's one of those famous moments that you know about.
And the fact that it is the London Symphony Orchestra is one thing, but then how personable they were, and how warm they were, and how unrelenting they were in their talent and monstrous energy. For me personally, as Lenny, and they gave me everything that I could have possibly wanted, and it was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. So to have that warmth amidst this, Thunderdome-like environment was wonderful. And because of that, they just felt like such a part of the film. They are such a part of the film. I mean, we hold on the concertmaster afterwards because there's just this beautiful expression that he has of having experienced that moment. Because it really did feel like we all did experience that moment together. And I've had the great fortune of spending the last 5 years around a lot of orchestras and watching a lot of music, many hours. And it really feels like a sports team. You can get the best players together on a team, and they're not going to win. And it really is about how they communicate and how much they want to be there and how much they feel heard and safe and guided. That, it really is all, there's no difference in terms of the way I've experienced an orchestra and a sports team because they're all unique players and they're all the best at what they do, and they've all been doing it since they were young. So they don't suffer fools either. So you better know what you're doing when you show up, or they're gonna destroy you. And at the same time, they want to be led. So if anything, it feels like, you know, conducting an orchestra is like riding a stallion. You have to guide it, and it has to feel safe with you, but you also have to respect the fact that it could kill you in a second. So it's a really wonderful, that's why I just think Lenny was so incredible, that he was able to never soften his own light and at the same time welcome an orchestra.
I must say, I've always said that if anybody asks me who I feel most privileged to have worked with, it's Lenny Bernstein. I mean, the bloke was a genius. When you think of, you know, sort of West Side and the musicals and his classical compositions, there's no one to touch that, is there?
No one has surpassed the impression I had of Bernstein for just pure heart and pure giving.
He was able to channel, that's why I think he was able to channel music like Mahler in such a way that it found itself into this movie, into us years later. That's how he was able to be such a pure crystal of light to allow this music to come through him. And I think if you're an orchestra, knowing the capability of what can happen to the music with this kind of conductor, that's when something really transcendent can occur.